I eagerly unwrapped the gifts from under the tree. I was home for a week on furlough from the group home I'd been in for almost a year. My mom didn't want me to wait until Christmas Day to open a gift, so she let me have one early. She watched with excitement as I pulled out a CD Walkman and 10 CDs. Probably something she'd gotten from one of those "for just 1 penny" mail ads. She was so proud of herself, and I couldn't help but share in her joy. Among the mix of music she gave me was Jewel's latest album, This Way. The group home only allowed us to listen to religious music, so I had no idea Jewel had released a new album. But my mom knew me well enough to order it. I spent the afternoon listening to it on repeat, letting her smooth voice wrap around me. Eventually, she asked me to spend some time with her in front of the TV, our usual pastime. After my mom went to sleep, I seized the opportunity to access the internet. The group home kept me locked away in the closet, so I needed a way to socialize with other gays. I logged into a local chat room, quickly connecting with a few people. I learned that a new 18 and over gay club, Bam Bams, had just opened. At 16, I'd been passing for 18 since I was 12. I was aching for something queer to explore. If they carded me, I was screwed, but I didn't think they would. And I was willing to take that risk. 2 days before Christmas, a Friday night, I decided to tell my mom I was hanging out with a few friends and head to Bam Bam's instead. I wasn't supposed to leave the apartment while on furlough, but my mom didn't mind. I looked up the directions and realized an hour-long walk was easier than just taking a bus with 3 transfers. Besides, I'd be out late after buses stopped running, so I'd need to know the route. After my mom went to bed, I popped in my new Jewel CD and began the trek. December in Fresno can be pretty warm, and this evening was no exception. It was over 70 degrees after sunset. I made my way through the flat streets, Jewel's smooth voice guiding me like a siren in the sea. I felt like a kid approaching Disneyland, giddy with anticipation. I kept daydreaming about a boy who might put his hands on my hips and sway with me to the music. When I arrived at Bam Bam's, my anxiety was at full throttle. There was already a line. I didn't have money, so I grabbed one of the rolls of quarters my mom kept for laundry to pay the $10 cover. She'd be mad when she found out, but I wasn't worried. The bouncer could tell I was out of place, but she didn't card me. She took my quarters and stamped my hand. I stepped through the neon rainbow doors into the gayest, non-sexual experience I'd ever had. To the left, a large dance floor stretched out, with screens playing music videos. To the right was a snack counter and a lounge area with couches. It was then I realized I was completely out of my element. I didn't belong here. The other patrons were fashionable and outgoing, while I felt invisible. I didn't have the courage to approach anyone, so I found a secluded chair and settled in. I watched people dance and chat, couples making out without a care in the world. It should have felt like euphoria, but instead, it made me feel claustrophobic. I had never felt so small. After about 30 minutes, I noticed a couple of guys glancing at me and whispering. That was enough to make me want to leave. I didn't have the confidence to engage the way I thought I would just an hour ago. The entrance was crowded, so I made a beeline for what I thought was another exit, but it turned out to be a fenced-in patio. Behind the fence, I saw men engaged in all kinds of sexual activity. Blowjobs in the corners, one guy getting Eiffel Towered, another man jacking off by the parking lot gate. Panic shot through me. I turned back around, desperate to find a quiet place to collect myself. I found a spot behind the stage and sat down, my mind racing. I didn't know what to do. Eventually, I was approached by a man who introduced himself as Richard, the owner. He seemed kind, concerned even, and asked if I wanted somewhere quieter to relax. He led me to a supply room in the building next door. It was warm and peaceful, just what I needed to calm my nerves. I opened up to Richard about my time in group homes and how all the Christian rhetoric had overwhelmed me. He listened thoughtfully, even when I admitted I was underage. He didn't get angry. He just let me talk, and for the first time in a while, I felt heard. Then, without warning, Richard suggested I let him sleep with me. I didn't know why I agreed. I wasn't in the mood, but he made me feel obligated. I was already so frazzled that I said yes. He lasted only 3 minutes before zipping up and telling me to go. I left confused and disoriented. The walk home after what had just happened was uncomfortable, but I didn't turn back. I just kept walking. Once again, Jewel's voice wrapped around me, but this time, the lyrics felt different. On the way there, they had empowered me. On the way back, they made me feel raw and vulnerable. Each line felt like a handkerchief to wipe away my tears. I was lonelier on that walk home than I'd ever been. Even a year after conversion therapy, I felt hopeless. Halfway home, it hit me. Richard knew I was 16. He had seen my fear, my anxiety, and used it against me. I felt dirty, deceived, alone. When I got home, I didn't even shower before going to bed. I knew there was blood on my leg, but I didn't want to wake my mom. I just curled up and wished I hadn't left that night. I woke up and washed off the night's filth, trying to forget everything and enjoy Christmas Eve with my mom. The night scared me from nightclubs for good. I still muster the courage to step into one every few years, but the anxiety from that night always resurfaces. I could never find solace in the bars the way others did while discovering themselves. Maybe things would have been different if I'd never found out about Bam Bams or met Richard. Who knows? What I do know is that every time I hear a song from This Way, I feel safe. It doesn't trigger any negative emotions. Maybe it's because Jewel's voice was a comfort during such confusion. Or maybe it's because of the joy I felt leaving that night. Whatever it is, whenever I feel lost, I put it on and let Jewel remind me of my way back. It's this way.